Okay, now that we've seen how to use a text box to get input, let's go ahead and clean it up a little. Notice that we just had this text box sitting here and this button, click me, or click here, and we didn't even know what we're supposed to enter in the box. It still comes up and prints, I would like to meet, and then there's nothing to print there. And really, as a user, you don't know what to enter. So let's go ahead and add a label and gather a little bit more information. Let's get another, what we want to do is to be able to add a label. And there's an HTML tag for label, and you can put whatever text you are here. Enter, or what? Oh, we could do enter. Enter the name of your pet. Okay, and that's actually goes between the opening and closing tag. And then we associate the label with the input by using the for attribute. And you can put these side by side or one after the other, it doesn't matter. But you use the for attribute, say this label is for, and you use the equal sign, and then in here, for quotes, you use the value of the ID. So we want it to be for this input box that has ID set to pet. So if I do that, then I can come back and reload, and now I have a label associated with that text box. Let's go ahead and move the button down. So now I'm going to put the button down there. I'm just going to simply add a break tag after this. Oops. I'm going to add a break tag after that, and then that will move it down so the button is below it. Now I know to enter the name of your pet is Walter, and click here. I would like to meet Walter. Let's go ahead. You know what? I think I want that paragraph to go under the input box. So I'm going to simply move that paragraph second from there to down under the button. And let's gather a few more things. So let's go ahead and gather pet type. Oops, type, and how old the pet is. So here I've got 3 different variables. I need some different inputs. So I'm going to do an input. Remember, we're using text boxes, so I'm using type equals text. And I need to give it an ID so I can access it with JavaScript. And I'm going to put, this is the type. And another input for the age. Again, this is going to be type text, and ID equals age. And then I want to put a label for each of these as well. So I'm going to do the label, and I want this to type of pet is it. And then I tell it which one this is by adding the for attribute, type, and type equals, oh, see, automatically it wants to add a type attribute. And oh, I don't need another input, I need another label. Wrong thing. Where I got the input box, I need the label. And here I want how old is pet. And again, I say that by saying for, and what is the ID that this is for? This is the one with ID set to age. Let's go see what that looks like. Reload. Okay, I want some more breaks in here to put these on different lines. You can also set style on labels and on input tags, so you can add different margins and paddings and get things to line up with using style. So here I've got 3 different text boxes and a click here button. Notice again I put anything in. Let's go back and use all of those. So I've got the value from the pet one, but I can get a value from pet type by going to get that document.getElement by ID and using the type. And then saying I want the value from there, so it's .value. And that was stored in pet type. I can get pet age by going and getting the next element. And this one has ID set to age. And again, I want the value from that text box. All right, and I've got 3 things, so now I can have a longer conversation. I would like to meet your, what is this, pet plus pet type plus named. Oh, it's warning me there, I haven't finished my quote. So I would like to meet your pet type, named, then the pet name, and then do we want to say something about the pet name's age? Who is, and now we can do pet age. Okay, let's see what happens. Name of your pet is Walter. What type of pet is it? It's a turtle. And how old is your pet? It is 4 years old. Click that. I would like to meet your turtle named Walter, who is 4 years old. There we go. Looks like I need a period on the end of that. And we were able to gather multiple things and call a function that handled all of them together. There, now we have it working. Let's go ahead and play with the style a little bit to see how we can work that out. Let's go ahead and try to make these labels all the same width to make those text boxes line up. So I can go in my style sheet and do label, because I can identify it and do it directly. And let's just add a width of 120 pixels and save that. And I go back and reload it, and notice how nothing happens. Well, when you reload the page, all of your text boxes empty out, right? And we haven't written anything because that function hasn't been called. But I didn't get any width here. And that is because label is an inline element, and width only applies to block elements. So I can change the display to block. This isn't going to get me exactly what I want, but it does make the width work. So it made them all 120 wide, but notice how when you make it block, then it's on its own line, and that forces that text box to go down. So what I want is a new display type that you may or may not have used before, and that is called Inline Block. And that gives it the block, the piece of it that I can add a width, but it keeps it in line. And so that's really what I want. And then that makes our text boxes all line up nicely, but it's not quite long enough because it's wrapping our text. So let's go ahead and make it a little bit longer. See if we can find one that just keeps all the text on one line. Okay, so there, 180 is right. And I want to add some margins to get some spacing in there. So I'm going to do margin, and I want the top and bottom to be 12 pixels and the left and right to be 4 pixels. Notice that I can do that with 2 values under margin. The first one does the top and the bottom one. The second one does the left and right when you only use 2. And there, that added some margin between those elements. It would give them a little bit more spacing. You can make all kinds of changes to the font and padding and all the other things that you want. You can change also on the button. You can change different style on the button. So I could say that I want it to have a margin 2 and have the top be 12 pixels and the left and right be, let's have that be 0 pixel. There we go, and we moved it down a little bit. So you can add it with style too, and now we have both a functioning web page and we have access to know how to make it style.